Call the regularly scheduled meeting for the Village of Tinley Park Plan Commission to order. At this time, can we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. At this time, if we can have a roll call.
Commissioner Gaskell.
Yes, present.
Commissioner Gatto. Commissioner Hamilton.
Here.
Commissioner Manny.
Present.
Commissioner Merrick. Commissioner Sepisi.
Yes.
Commissioner Shaw.
Present.
Commissioner Truxell.
Present.
Chairman Gray.
Present. We do have a quorum. Move on to approval of the meeting minutes from the February 2nd, 2023 Plan Commission meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Make motion.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Gaskell, seconded by Commissioner Truxell. All those in favor of approving the February 2nd, 2023 minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion is carried. We'll move on to item 1.
I'll do just quick communication. Sorry.
Sure.
I was just going to welcome the new Commissioner Sepisi. Well, new old commissioner. He was on ZBA. He was the chairman before that. So the new face on the board.
Watch how you say old.
Yeah, I meant old as in you have experience on the commission.
Tenure.
Yeah, tenured.
I'm glad you made that straight.
So welcome to Commissioner Stephen Sepisi, and thanks for volunteering.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Dan. We will then move on to item 1. Item 1 is a public hearing to consider recommending that the village board grant Ismat Haddad on behalf of Mr. Smoke a special use for tobacco store at 7212 191st Street, Suite 300 in the B-3PD General Business and Commercial Brookside Marketplace PUD zoning district. May I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Okay, do I have a second? Okay, motion made by Commissioner Shaw, seconded by Commissioner Gaskell. All those in favor in opening the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion is carried. I have received certification of this public hearing being published in a local newspaper. All those wishing to speak on this matter will be sworn in before they speak, but after the staff's presentation. So at this time, staff, if you could please proceed with your presentation.
All right, so item 1 is for a tobacco store. It's proposed to be in the Brookside Marketplace Shopping Center at the northwest corner of 191st and Harlem. It's surrounded by shops and restaurants in the same large shopping center. The space is in between the Subway and the Great Clips. The subject property is located in a retail building with 3 tenant spaces. The petitioner intends to lease the space to open a new business. The previous tenant of this retail space was a tobacco store called Big Box Tobacco. It is unknown when or why this business closed at this location. The property is zoned B3PD, General Business and Commercial, Brookside Marketplace PUD. All the surrounding properties are located within the same PUD. There's an Arby's drive-through to the north, the Saucy Crab restaurant to the east, Vision Works to the south, and the large Target parking lot to the west. The PUD was adopted in 2004, and it maintains special use status for a tobacco store. This is the second special use permit for a tobacco store since the tobacco store ordinance was adopted in January of 2022. A special use permit is required to operate a tobacco store within the Brookside Marketplace PUD and the underlying B3 zoning district. A tobacco store is defined as a retail establishment that derives 65% or more of its gross revenue from the sale of tobacco products and alternative nicotine products, and in which the sale of other products is merely incidental. Potential concerns with this use include but are not limited to clustering of tobacco stores in a given area, nuisance lighting and signage, sale of tobacco products to underage persons, outdoor smoking near other businesses, and proximity to certain institutions where children are likely to be present. Mr. Smoke will be open from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Outdoor smoking near adjacent businesses will not be allowed. No one under 21 can purchase tobacco products. There are no nearby institutions where children are likely to be present, and all village signage requirements will be met. The request will allow a new business to open up in the village. It'll generate sales tax revenue via new retail sales, and it will fill a vacant space in a shopping center. So here's a site plan from the shopping center property manager that shows where the retail space is located within the shopping center. There's 26 parking spaces immediately adjacent to the building and two accessible spaces. There are large parking fields to the south and west and smaller fields to the north and east. Parking is shared amongst businesses and will not be a problem. Mr. Smoke anticipates 2 employees working and 1 to 5 customers at a time. That concludes my presentation.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Sir, I'm assuming you're the applicant then? Do you have anything you'd like to add? If so, if you could please approach the lectern. I will swear you in first. Do you swear or affirm that the evidence you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, please say your name and proceed.
Ismet Haddad. I'm going to be opening the Mr. Smoke. I was previously working in Mr. Big Box Tobacco, and I worked there for about 7 to 8 months before they decided to close. I tried to buy the business from the people, but unfortunately it didn't work out. So I just decided to go ahead and open it for, for myself. And I have experience with that business. I also had other businesses before. I used to work for the city of Chicago as well. And pretty much, this kind of concludes what I have to say.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Haddad. We appreciate you being here today. I'm going to go to our commissioners to see if they have any questions for discussion, and if
Okay.
you-
If there's a- yeah,
Sure,
I will-
absolutely, sure.
There's no.
Commissioner Shaw.
Actually, I don't have any questions. I appreciate the staff report. It was thorough. I applaud your, being entrepreneurial, and I want to encourage that. I think it's great. It was a business that was already there and doesn't appear to have any major concerns, at least not on my part, so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Shaw. Commissioner Manning.
Well, I agree with Commissioner Shaw, and I'm glad that you are filling that empty spot. again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Yeah, it looks like a good location for this. Not only was it there before, but the concerns about, children being next to a school or something like that, that doesn't seem to apply here, so it looks like a good fit.
Thank you.
Commissioner Gaskell.
I have nothing.
Commissioner Truxell.
No, the staff report was very clear. It's a nice job, Michael, and glad there's a business taking up in that open spot, so good deal.
Okay. I want to make sure I get your name right. Stephen Zefsik?
Septicem.
Zepesi. Okay, apologize. Go ahead, Commissioner.
My only even thought on this would be the part about people smoking in front of other businesses and stuff, but that seems to have been addressed with signage and that, is that, if that's the case and it's enforced, that should be fine.
I would defer to the applicant about no smoking signage.
Well, I could answer that. First of all, everybody knows there's no smoking. It's not the area, if you guys are familiar with the plaza, with the mall, pretty much it's not like a corner store or something like that where people will be hanging out or stuff like that. It's mostly people are coming in, shopping, and kind of going away. You will see people, they do smoke, but they're not gonna be standing in front of the building smoking. They're finishing their cigarette and putting it in, because there's a thing for smoking, that they put it out, but it's not for them to stand there. The property has that, not me.
Right.
So, so nobody will be like standing in front of the business and smoking, If there is, I will go out there or have my employees go out there and tell them, hey, you gotta go somewhere else, kind of thing,
Okay.
we don't want to, we don't want no trouble with people, you know how they are these days. So we'll just address it to them if they are doing it in front of the business, that they got to go somewhere else and do that.
Okay. Satisfied then? Okay. Myself, I just echo what a lot of the commissioners said. I think it's a good idea. You're repurposing, it's the same purpose, but you're just reusing the space. Sounds like you have the know-how and it's built for success. So I have no further comments. You may sit down if you wish, Mr. Haddad. At this time then, there's no other people in the audience, so we'll move on to the standards.
Sure. So the standards for special use approval,
Oh, I'm sorry, I better close the public hearing first. I apologize. We have a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Shaw, seconded by Commissioner Truxell. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the public hearing is closed. So at this time, Michael, if you could please present the standards.
sure. Standards for special use approval will be, or that the establishment will not endanger public health, safety, morals, general welfare of the village. The proposed use will not be detrimental. Customers' ages will be verified as required by state law. Smoking is not permitted indoors. There are no certain institutions such as churches, schools, daycares nearby. The special use will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other properties in the immediate vicinity. The operation will not permit loitering, and outdoor smoking will not disturb other tenants in the building. It will not impede, that the use will not impede normal and orderly development. The neighboring properties are already developed, and this proposal will not negatively affect any future development or redevelopment. Adequate utilities are provided. Adequate measures to provide ingress and egress are provided. There's sufficient drive aisles and parking areas nearby. Special use will conform to all other regulations in the village, and the extent to which the special use contributes directly. The proposal will allow a new business to open up in Tinley Park, which will provide sales tax revenue to the village.
Okay. At this time, could I have a motion on the floor regarding the special use permit?
I'll take it. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to recommend that the village board grant the petitioner, Ismat Haddad, on behalf of Mr. Smoke, a special use permit to operate a tobacco store at 7212 191st Street, Suite 300, in the B3 PD General Business and Commercial Brookside Marketplace PUD zoning district according to the submitted plans, and adopt the findings of fact as listed in the February 16th, 2023 staff report.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. Motion made by Commissioner Truxell, seconded by Commissioner Manny. Lori, can I have a roll call?
Commissioner Gaskell.
Yes.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Yes.
Commissioner Manny.
Yes.
Commissioner Sepisi.
Yes.
Commissioner Shaw.
Yes.
Commissioner Truxell.
Yes.
Chairman Gray.
Yes. Okay, the motion is carried. So, Mr. Haddad, this will go in front of the village board, I believe on March 7th, 2023. So just get with staff on how to attend. And congrats and good luck.
Thank you.
And you're free to go. We're gonna move on to the next item.
Before you go to the next item, it says March 7th, that like 3 weeks from now or something like that?
Yes,
Oh,
it'll be a Tuesday, yeah, March 7th.
Yeah, Michael can follow up with you
Michael,
on the time and the location and stuff.
okay,
Yeah.
all right, I'm free to
Okay.
go.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. You guys
Yeah,
have a nice
drive
night.
safely, it's getting slick out there.
Yes, it is, thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to item 2. Item 2 is a public meeting to consider recommending that the village board adopt a proposed public hearing notice policy. At this time, I want to ask, no need to open up a public meeting. So I guess staff, please make your presentation.
Thank you. So as our existing policy stands for how we notice public hearings. We have a few ways that we do it, as we discussed in the workshop. First and foremost, as required by state law, we post in the Southtown newspaper 15 to 30 calendar days before. We mail to property owners within 250 feet of the site, and we post the information on our website within the agenda packet. And that's typically the 5 days before we would have the meeting. For some projects, we would include a sign on the property in a visible location. And then when we get to the public hearing itself, as we're well aware, our chair confirms the notice of the newspaper requirements are met via an affidavit. And then as far as renoticing, the way we have approached this is that no new notice or republishing would be required for continuation as long as it's heard after the second continuation. So the purpose of us creating this resolution is to help document these standards for public hearing for reference, if necessary, if the petitioner or general public had questions on how we would operate the notices. This resolution also, in regards to signage, would help differentiate existing residential minor projects from the new residential and commercial developments. Of course, it provides a set policy going forward, and, as I mentioned before, it's an actual resolution that can be referenced. So as far as the feedback that we got from our last meeting on February 2nd, in that meeting, we provided some proposed details with our, what we would suggest going forward, and we received some good feedback. So when we adjusted our staff report, we added the fact that we would post on the website. Again, this is something we already do at the Friday prior to the meeting. And, staff discretion of how the signs are placed in the quantity. So we made some observations, as you noted, as you would have seen in our staff report. A summary of this is providing some additional notices in additional places. So email blasts, map, special mailing list. The distance was looked at. There's a consideration of possibly adding a QR code on signs. Another helpful suggestion we talked about was to, in the case of village-provided signs on the back, to include some language to please return to our village hall address to reduce damage and loss to our village-owned signs. So that's a way to help maintenance. And then really also in, the recognizing that some projects are, the standard operations of government. We'd like to focus and save the big notification pushes for important projects. So, if this is a new comprehensive plan or projects that we would foresee having a large impact on the community. So given that, in our packet, we also included our latest draft resolution and, the policy that we propose, in addition, of course, to, as working with the petition to schedule the meetings, we still have the newspaper posting, the 250 feet mailing notice, and website agenda packet that Friday before the meeting. So there's no change there. We also have no change to the chair confirming the notice by the printed affidavit. And for continuations, we have a slight adjustment to that. As in the resolution, you would see that there's no new notice required if the public hearing is not concluded at the first meeting and is continued to another event, provided that the continuation is held within 90 days of the original public hearing date. So that's a change from the continuation 2 meetings. And then lastly, about the signs. So we identify these kind of like minor existing residential and minor overall projects that may have potential negative effects that go beyond the mailing notice radius, beyond that 250 feet. This would be a situation where we would want to consider having a sign. And, this would, something like this, in terms of like types of cases we'd get, like corner fences, sign variations, things like that would be considered minor projects that would not have a perceived potential negative effect. So no signs would be required for those cases. And these would be for signs that would be provided by the village. And then secondly, the other category would be for brand-new residential, so like if you have a vacant lot, your building on it, as well as the commercial larger projects. And in this case, we specified out the signage to have that same concurrent notice, 15 to 30 days, quantity, locations, per staff approval, to be visible from but not in the right-of-way, along with some physical specifications, so 4 by 6 foot sign, weather-resistant lettering, minimum 3 feet from ground per staff approval, and some content to be provided on the sign that will talk about the request and the date and time of the meeting. So that's the staff presentation. We're here to answer questions and get your feedback.
Okay. I'll ask the commissioners if they have any questions or comments. We'll begin with Commissioner Stephen Sefasi.
I really got nothing because this is all a little new.
Okay, fair enough. If something sparks as we continue to discuss, although we talked a couple weeks ago about this, we maybe almost talked out. Please feel free to jump in.
Absolutely.
Commissioner Truxell.
Yeah, just one question. So we require the petitioner to provide the signs or to supply the signs. Do we have recommendations where they go to get the signs, or is that up to them?
We're gonna kind of reach out to some local sign companies and see if they can make this easy for,
Right.
like, a situation that's easy. We can't really recommend sign companies, but we
Okay.
can also tell people, hey, here's 3 sign companies that do these pretty regularly.
Okay,
And we'll start with kind of some local ones.
that
and
sounds
just-
good. Just so there's a process in place and.
Yeah, it
moves
makes it a
along.
little easier. Ultimately, they could go wherever they want and get it made, and they'll have some
Good idea.
standards. But we'll make it a little easier to guide them to a few locations. that
Okay,
can
and that's
do it.
already established, basically? You guys are already getting signs from them, or?
No.
No?
That part of it is kind of new.
All right.
We're gonna have on large sites, the developers putting up their sign. We haven't done that in Tinley Park, but it is very commonplace.
Oh, yeah.
In every other part of
Yep.
the nation.
Okay, that's it for me.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Truxell. Commissioner Gaskell.
I have no comments or questions.
Okay. Commissioner Shaw.
I just had 2 real quick ones. I noticed in the report, just the description of the notice process specifically mentioned the paper, but I do notice that in the actual ordinance, it's non-specific, right? As a matter of course, you're using the Southtown, but it's not named in the procedure. So I just,
Yeah, that's what we commonly do, but legally, sometimes if you can't get it in the Southtown, because those are certain days, we'll use the Tribune.
yeah, the language specifies general circulation
Yeah,
in Tinley
it's a
Park.
little bit looser in the ordinance sometimes, because kind of like we had talked about is, this is a minimum, and then we heard everything, and we're still gonna attack some of those ideas you guys had, but they're
Yeah.
not gonna be put into this as a minimum.
No, I was emphasizing that I agree the way you've written it, because you're not locking yourself into a specific business,
Yeah.
kind of in the same way you're talking about the sign, right? You don't want to lock into it. Plus, if you name a newspaper in the ordinance and they go out of business, you got to change your ordinance, right?
Yeah, there's a chance there may be no newspaper one day,
Yeah.
we'll,
Yeah.
the whole thing may change, so.
And then the other one is, I don't know that you'll have the answer. I actually tried looking it up earlier today and then again just now. Procedurally, I swear that the process for continuing a public hearing, in the past, many years ago, I thought we had been advised that to continue it, you had to actually open it and then continue it. And so it doesn't really, I shouldn't say it doesn't matter. It does matter, but I don't know the answer. I just wanted to bring it up. I couldn't find the answer to that. I was looking through the Open Meetings Act, and I couldn't find a definition of
Yeah,
how
the-
it's supposed to go.
So, because I talked with our attorneys about this now, each person could have kind of a preference of the way they'd want that to go when you continue a meeting. The point of it is can someone watch it and understand where it's going, what the date is? It doesn't, it's more like a Robert's Rules thing, but it's not even clearly in there. And Robert's Rules isn't like a code you have to, it's giving you good process, but it's not even in that. To me, it doesn't make any sense why you open it and then continue it when you could just take the whole thing, and that doesn't actually serve any
You're
positive
just removing it
purpose.
from the agenda, and you're
Yeah.
gonna put it on the agenda for
As long
another
as
day.
you have a certain date certain, that's kind of the key, is you can't just indefinitely continue something and then somebody watching it doesn't know when to tune back in, right?
Right, because the objective is that the public has the initial notice, when they go to that, then they know when the next one is gonna be, and then.
Yeah, so that, I guess the answer to your question is, it was kind of my preference that we just do it without opening it, and our attorneys were fine with that, since it seems to meet all the requirements.
As long as that is,
But it's not wrong or right either way.
well, as long as it's not a legal requirement, then I actually completely agree with you, because if you open it and then continue it,
Right.
and then you forget to deal with it, you've just got it, like, not that you're gonna forget, but.
And in some cases, like the one on Duvan Drive, they decided they dropped it on the variations and they were just gonna conform. So we continued that without opening it, and I had asked staff, why isn't it on the next agenda, a couple meetings ago? And they said, we're not gonna go through this process, we'll actually toe the line and get inside the rules and not ask for a variation. So it could get hairy if you open it, continue, and then they withdraw, right?
Right,
I
'cause
guess-
Then you have it open.
then you have to open it to close it,
Yeah.
which is just kind of red tape.
Right.
Yeah, it's goofy, and then I guess on top of that, I would say, I forgot what I was gonna say now. Mine went off track, but yeah, it's just a cleaner version
Right.
of it.
And,
Okay,
and,
I'm good,
and-
as long as we know the rules and our protocols, then
Right.
that makes sense to me.
I'm,
And, there might be times where it makes sense, sorry, to open and continue it. So let's say you guys did have just some brief questions or something. We know we're gonna continue it, but you're saying, hey, I don't really know what this addresses, we just wanna touch base. One of you could absolutely still have the right, it's been published. Every commissioner would have the right to request to open it, get a second, and take a vote to open it. So there might be situations where that makes sense. Maybe we want to have a brief discussion, but we know it's going to they're still missing information, so we're going to continue it. You might do like a mini workshop or something just as part of it. So there's situations where we still might do that. But if we just know it's getting continued and we didn't get the submittal in time or something, I like just moving the whole thing, not opening it.
Yep, makes sense to me.
right,
It's
and,
clean.
yeah, it's clean, yeah, and I think also the intent, I know 90 days, people can forget a lot in 3 months, right? Even if they put it on the calendar and they got the big family trip or something. But, the idea is there, we're not trying to, make it anonymous or go into the, ether, so to speak. It's more of, for protocol reasons, it's a little bit cleaner. As we said, it's not supposed to be like, smoke and mirrors, it's supposed to be transparent. And so if they come, they can mark their calendars, but then we're not wasting time every 2 weeks opening and closing an item or continuing an item or whatever the case may be.
And that's the minimum again, so like with Gas and Wash will be coming back soon, and Odyssey, two things that got continued at different points, and I don't even know if it's been 90 days, I don't really care, we're making them republish it anyways. If they got too confusing, we're gonna do the right thing and still make sure we kind of go back through the process. That's just there as a minimum standard to know. We're not gonna continue something 4 months later that was published 4 months ago. So that's just kind of put there as a safety net to, I guess, against ourselves, but we're usually gonna do the the more transparent option.
Sure. Okay. Any more comments? Commissioner Shaw? Okay.
No comments from me.
Commissioner Manny? No comment?
No comment.
Commissioner Hamilton?
I was just trying to remember why we were going to the effort of formalizing. This was like our general practices, and we just kind of got a feeling like, hey, let's write them down so everybody sees them and it's recognized and it's all above board. That's why we're doing this, right?
Yeah, I like just well, this is the way we kind of always did it, it's fine, we've been consistent with it, but we had a couple people question when they didn't get notices, and it was all fine, nothing ever created a big problem, but I like taking care of this so that way, if somebody goes, why didn't I get a notice, and they're 305 feet away, and I can at least go back to say,
Yeah.
look, we're following policy that's on the book. It's not just Dan or Lori or Michael deciding
That's how we've always done
what
it.
we're doing. And again, we err on the side of being more flexible, but this is to protect us, and because there is no issue with it right now, is the perfect time to pass it, instead of being responsive to when there is an issue and we're trying, then it creates a little bit more of a mess.
Forward-thinking problem solving.
Okay, and not that we can't change it going forward. If we learn something new, we can certainly, it can be a living document, but it was kind of my pet project to get this moving and make sure we're covered. We know what we're supposed to be doing.
Good idea.
Okay. I myself don't have any more comments than the ones I kind of chirped in on. I think it looks good. So if there's no other comments, if I could have a motion regarding this item?
I make a motion to recommend that the village board adopt a resolution establishing a public hearing notice policy for the village of Tinley Park as described in the February 16th, 2023 staff report and drafted resolution.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Truxell, seconded by Commissioner Gaskell. Can I get a roll call?
Commissioner Gaskell.
Yes.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Yes?
Commissioner Manny.
Yes.
Commissioner Sepisi.
Yes.
Commissioner Shaw.
Yes.
Commissioner Truxell.
Yes.
Chairman Gray.
Yes. Okay, the motion is carried. So would this be brought in front of the village board? Okay, March 7th as well? Okay, great.
We're gonna do a first reading on March 7th, so it's ultimately their policy. I guess it's something a little different here we haven't done before, but you guys, all of this comes before you, so it just made sense. Take a stop here before it goes to the board.
Okay. Well, thank you. We'll move on to the good of the order. Do you have anything to present for the good of the order?
Just a couple of updates. First of all, Smoothie King up the street is open, so we're very excited to see that business add to that corner at 159th and Oak Park. Also nearby Delta Sonic, their pumps and C-store are now back open. And we anticipate the detail car wash center to open around July. And then, of course, with other projects, just a couple to mention. Loyola is still moving along with the facades, as I mentioned before, having gone up. They are now drywalling on the inside, doing millwork in the next month or so. So it's all still on schedule for, I think, June or early July of this year. And then lastly, the Banging Gavel, some detail about that. Their decks and ramps have been up and built, so the building is shored up for those loads. And that means we're looking forward to them potentially opening with their certificate of occupancy around this June.
We published for the planning manager position, so I'm excited to have that open, and we could get kind of fully staffed here. March 2nd is our next meeting. That's gonna have our kind of annual zoning map that comes before you guys to adopt and send to the board. And that's just updating everything that happened from the past year. It's not actually required of a community that's incorporated like us and is home rule, but it's just good practice to make sure we're not building upon years of stuff and not changing the map. So, we've been working on that. And then we're gonna likely have an initial discussion of just the fence regulations, and kind of see what we're talking about changing. I said I'd bring that before you, so Michael's been working on that. I don't know how many meetings it'll be, what we'll decide or what we won't decide, but we'll kind of have that initial, here's where we're at, here's maybe some ideas of how we could loosen up the code that could be positive still. See what thoughts you guys have, so feel free to take a look beforehand too, but we'll have that discussion. Gas and Wash and Odyssey are coming back, I mentioned that, they should both, they're both working out. Gas and Wash resubmitted, depending on when they, or sorry, we gave them their review comments, depending on when they resubmit. They should be here in March at some point for a workshop and a public hearing. And then Odyssey will be coming back. We've worked through some of those association issues. And so not much will change with the actual product that they're approving, but there was just some background stuff with the association and the PUD that should be cleared up, hopefully soon. That's all I have, and thanks to Commissioner Sepisi again for quickly jumping in when we had a vacancy.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, with that said, we'll move on to receiving public comment. Seeing no public in attendance, may I have a motion to adjourn the Public Plan Commission meeting?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Shaw, seconded by Commissioner Gaskell. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion is carried. The meeting is adjourned at 7:36 PM. Okay.